In a fancy apartment in Atlanta, Mary Simon stood by the window, looking at the city as the sun went down. She was 43 years old and a well-respected investment analyst on Wall Street. On her desk lay a wedding invitation, her own. She was getting married to her fiancé. Mary took a deep breath, thinking about her past marriage. The word marriage brought both happiness and painful memories, especially with her family. The most complicated relationship she had was with her sister, Laura. Since childhood, their bond had been filled with competition and jealousy. Laura was the child everyone wanted, while Mary was the unexpected one, born just 11 months later. At least, that's what their grandmother, Angela, always said. As Mary thought about her childhood, she remembered how her parents, Scott and Emma, clearly favored Laura. In family photos, Laura always sat in the center, while Mary was placed on the side. On vacations, they would often take Laura and leave Mary behind with her grandparents. One summer, when Mary was 7, she overheard her parents talking about taking Laura to Disneyland. Her heart filled with excitement, but that happiness didn't last long. "Sorry, Mary," her mother Emma had said. "This time, we're only taking Laura. You'll get your turn next time." Mary tried not to cry. "But I want to go too," she said. Her father, Scott, spoke firmly. "Mary, just stay with your grandparents. Laura needs special attention." The words special attention stuck with Mary. Why was Laura always special? Why was Mary always second? But next time never came. Mary spent that summer alone at her grandparents' house, staring at family photos. The loneliness she felt that day left a deep scar in her heart. As she grew older, around 7 or 8, she started to realize how unfairly she was treated. Slowly, sadness and anger began to grow inside her. The only comfort she had was spending time with her grandparents. Her grandfather, Larry, and grandmother, Angela, gave her the love she craved. "Mary, you're special," Angela would say with a warm smile. "But sometimes, being special can feel heavy. Stay strong." Her grandfather, Larry, introduced her to math and science, showing her a world where numbers made sense, unlike the unfair world around her. What her grandfather taught her became Mary's safe place. There, she could learn and explore without worrying about her parents or her sister watching her every move. One day, her grandfather showed her an old telescope. "This was passed down from my father," he said with a nostalgic smile. "When you look at the stars, you realize how small our problems really are." That night, Mary and her grandfather sat on the rooftop, gazing at the stars. In the vast universe, she felt small, yet she also sensed endless possibilities. "Knowledge is power, Mary," her grandfather often told her. "It's a treasure no one can take from you." Books became Mary's escape from reality. She tried to prove her worth by solving math problems, but to her parents, she was just a good girl, never special. "Why can't you be more outgoing like Laura?" her father, Scott, would say. "Go outside and make some friends." But for Mary, the outside world was scary. Her classmates called her weird and made fun of her. Laura, being popular, never stood up for her. In fact, sometimes she joined in. One day, during a school break, Mary was sitting alone in the library, reading. Suddenly, a group of classmates surrounded her. "Look, she's reading alone again," one of them laughed. "Don't you have any friends?" Mary's face turned red, and she didn't know what to say. At that moment, she saw Laura walking by. For a second, Mary thought her sister might help. But instead, Laura glanced at her coldly and said, "Leave her alone. My sister is a bit special." The group burst into laughter. Mary grabbed her book and ran to the bathroom, crying. The pain of being betrayed by her own sister hurt more than anything her classmates had said. As they got older, things between Mary and Laura became even more complicated. Mary did well in school, while Laura was charming and popular. Every time Mary answered a question in class, her classmates would sigh and mumble, "There she goes again." Even though she was proud of her intelligence, loneliness followed her everywhere. She spent most of her time in libraries and science labs, trying to find her value in learning. One day, during a chemistry experiment, Mary made a surprising discovery. Her results went against what the textbook said. Excited, she shared her findings with her teacher, who praised her talent. But her happiness didn't last long. Laura suddenly appeared. "Are you trying to get attention with your weird experiments again?" she said. "I'll tell Mom and Dad." Mary was speechless. Why couldn't her sister just be happy for her? Why did she always try to bring her down? That evening, her parents scolded her. "Don't bother the teacher with unnecessary things," her father said sternly. "Just sit quietly in class," her mother added. Mary cried in her room, wondering why she was never enough. Why was her talent treated like something bad? That night, Mary made a promise to herself. She would find a place where her abilities were valued. She would become so successful that no one could ignore her worth. One day, Mary made friends with some girls from her art class. Unlike others, they understood and accepted her for who she was. For the first time, Mary felt the warmth of real friendship. After school, they would meet at a cafe, talking excitedly about art, science, and philosophy. Mary shared her thoughts on everything, and her friends were impressed by her knowledge. "Mary, you're really interesting," her friend Kathleen said. "I wish I had gotten to know you sooner." For the first time, Mary felt like she belonged somewhere. But this happiness didn't last long. Laura couldn't stand seeing Mary happy. She didn't want Mary to be close to anyone else. One afternoon, she walked up to Mary's group. "Hey, let me join too," Laura said sweetly. Mary's friends hesitated. They knew how Laura had treated Mary in the past. "Sorry, Laura," Kathleen said kindly, "but this group is..." Before she could finish, Laura's expression changed. Her face twisted with anger. "Why won't you let me join?" she yelled. Her voice echoed down the hallway. "You're the worst, sister." That night, Laura ran to their parents, crying. She told them Mary was being mean and wouldn't let her join the group. As always, their parents took Laura's side. "Mary, why can't you be more kind?" her mother, Emma, scolded. "Laura is your sister. You should get along better." Mary tried to stand by her decision, but it wasn't easy. She cried into her pillow at night, wondering why she always had to suffer. Why couldn't her parents see her side? But this experience made Mary stronger. She realized her worth wasn't in what others thought, it was in herself. She focused even more on her studies, determined to build a future where no one could ignore her. She set a goal: to succeed on Wall Street. That would be her revenge and her way of proving herself. In her final year of high school, Mary won a national mathematics competition. Her name spread across the school, and she was even mentioned in the local newspaper. For the first time, she felt the joy of being recognized for her abilities. But this happiness didn't last either. At home, Laura became jealous. She feared that their parents would start paying attention to Mary instead of her. So Laura told a lie. One day, she told their parents that Mary had a secret boyfriend and was using drugs. Scott, their father, confronted Mary. His face was filled with anger. "Is it true?" he demanded, his voice shaking. "I can't believe you would do something like this," Scott shouted. Mary tried desperately to explain, but he refused to listen. Emma just stood there, silent. "Why won't you believe me?" Mary cried, tears running down her face. "I've always been honest." You only believe Laura's words. But their parents didn't change their minds. To them, Laura was always right, and Mary was always the problem. Filled with anger and heartbreak, Mary turned to Laura. "Why would you lie like that?" she yelled. "What have I ever done to you?" Instead of answering, Laura suddenly pushed Mary. Mary lost her balance and hit her head against a shelf. Pain shot through her skull as blood ran from her nose. But the worst pain wasn't from the injury, it was from the betrayal. Their parents rushed Mary to the hospital, but even then, they defended Laura. "It was an accident," Scott kept saying. Laura didn't mean it. Sitting alone in the hospital waiting room, Mary felt numb. The pain in her head mixed with the pain in her heart, and tears welled in her eyes. A nurse walked over and spoke gently. "Are you okay? What happened?" Her voice was warm, kind, so different from what Mary was used to. Mary hesitated. She had never told anyone about her family's problems before. But something inside her broke. She couldn't hold it in any longer. Taking a deep breath, she told the nurse everything. The nurse listened carefully, nodding now and then. When Mary finished, she spoke softly. "I'm worried about you. Would you like me to call Child Protective Services?" Mary froze for a moment. Then slowly she nodded. Maybe this was the only way things could change. When CPS got involved, it caused a huge uproar in the family. Her parents were furious. "Why did you do that?" Emma screamed in the hospital hallway. "How could you let strangers interfere in our family business? You betrayed us." Scott looked at Mary coldly. "You are a disgrace to this family. Don't ever come back." Tears ran down Mary's face as she listened to their cruel words. It felt like her heart was being ripped apart. But at the same time, she felt something else, a strange sense of freedom. After that, Mary moved in with her grandparents. Her parents barely fought to keep her. In fact, they seemed relieved that she was gone. For the first time in her life, Mary felt what it was like to be in a real home. Every morning, she woke up to the smell of her grandmother's cooking. Every night, she sat outside with her grandfather, talking about life while looking at the stars. "Life isn't easy, Mary," her grandfather told her. "But every time you overcome something, you get stronger. Never forget, you have endless potential." When she graduated from high school, Mary earned a full scholarship to Clark Atlanta University. The moment she stepped onto campus, a wave of emotion hit her. Here, she could finally begin again. She could finally start a new life. No one here knew about her past. No one saw her as Laura's sister.
She was just Mary.
University life was full of surprises. Her hard work and intelligence were quickly noticed, and soon, even her professors recognized her abilities. Her friends respected her for who she was and appreciated her unique personality. Mary especially shined in her economics classes. Her sharp thinking and problem-solving skills impressed everyone. One day, a well-known professor stopped her. "Mary, your latest report was excellent," he said with a smile. "You have great potential. Have you ever thought about working on Wall Street?" Mary's eyes lit up. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. But sometimes, when she thought about her family, she felt a painful tightness in her chest. Her parents barely contacted her, just a birthday card once a year. She never heard from Laura. On some nights, Mary would look through old family photos. Pictures of her parents and Laura, all smiling, while she stood on the edge. Every time she saw those photos, her heart filled with complicated emotions. In her second year of college, Mary met Jerry in the library. He was a law student who understood her quiet nature and sharp mind. They got along instantly and, over time, became a couple. "You're an incredible person, Mary," Jerry told her one evening. "I can't believe your family doesn't see that." Being with Jerry changed her. She finally felt what it was like to be loved for who she was. It also made her think more about her family. "Should I forgive them?" Mary asked Jerry one night. He thought carefully before answering. "That's up to you. But I've heard that forgiving isn't for the other person. It's for yourself. It lifts the weight off your heart." Mary thought about his words for a long time. Slowly, something inside her began to change. After graduating, Mary got a job at a top investment bank on Wall Street. Her skills and insights were valued, and she quickly rose through the ranks. By her mid-40s, she had made a name for herself in the industry. One day, she was given a huge project, one that could define her career. She worked tirelessly, staying up late to prepare the best presentation possible. On the day of the meeting, the conference room was filled with top executives. Mary took a deep breath and started speaking. Her analysis was sharp, her ideas fresh and innovative. When she finished, there was silence. Then the CEO stood up and started clapping. One by one, the other executives joined in. "Great job, Ms. Carter," the CEO said with a big smile. "Thanks to you, our company is about to make a major breakthrough." At that moment, Mary felt truly recognized. Tears filled her eyes. All the years of hard work had finally paid off. Meanwhile, Jerry had become a successful lawyer, working on human rights cases. Despite their busy schedules, they always supported each other. After 9 years together, Jerry proposed. Jerry knelt in front of Mary's favorite painting at the museum. "Mary, I love you," he said, his voice shaking. "I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Mary's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, gladly." That night, as they talked about their future, an important topic came up. Should she invite her family to the wedding? Mary called her grandparents first. When she told them the news, their joyful voices made her tear up. "Your happiness means everything, Mary," her grandmother said warmly. "You deserve this." But reaching out to her parents and Laura wasn't easy. Years of pain and anger made her hesitate as she tried to dial their numbers. She started the call several times, but stopped each time. The memories of the past clashed with her emotions in the present. In the end, Mary decided to send a short message. She wrote and rewrote it several times before finally settling on a simple text. "Dad, Mom, and Laura, I'm engaged to a man named Jerry. Our wedding is on the 16th of next month. You are welcome to attend if you'd like." After pressing send, Mary's heart pounded. The next few days were filled with anxiety. She couldn't concentrate at work or sleep at night. Jerry gently reassured her. "It's okay, Mary. No matter what their response is, I'm here with you." As expected, her parents' reply was cold. "Congratulations. Your father should walk you down the aisle," her mother wrote. It wasn't a warm message, it was a demand. Laura's response was even worse. "Are you trying to embarrass me by getting married before your older sister? You always think only of yourself." Reading those messages, Mary felt her chest tighten with pain. Even after all these years, nothing had changed. It hurt to realize that she had no real family who was truly happy for her. She turned to Jerry for advice. "Should I invite them? But if they come, they might ruin the wedding." Jerry took her hand. "I'll support whatever choice you make. Just make sure it's a choice you won't regret. This is our day, but it could also be a chance to make peace with them." Mary thought about it for a long time. Inside her, a battle raged between the painful memories of her childhood and a small hope for reconciliation. 3 weeks before the wedding, she made her final decision. She would invite her parents and Laura, but they would not play important roles. She called her father. "Dad, I've asked Grandpa to walk me down the aisle," she said. There was a long silence. Then, her father's voice burst through the phone, full of anger. "What a selfish daughter we raised." Mary's hands trembled, but she took a deep breath and answered firmly. "Yes, you raised me," she said, "but it was my grandparents who truly loved me. And on the most important day of my life, I want to be with the people who were there for me. I want someone by my side who truly supports me." For a moment, Mary's father was silent. But then, his anger returned. "You are no longer our daughter." When the call ended, Mary cried for a long time. But these weren't just tears of sadness. They were also tears of freedom. Years of buried emotions were finally being released. Jerry didn't say anything. He just held her, letting his presence be her comfort. As the wedding day got closer, Mary kept busy. She picked out her dress, chose flowers, and handled all the final details. For a little while, she almost forgot about her family. But a week before the wedding, another painful surprise came. Her phone rang. It was her father. "Mary, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice tense. "About your wedding. I can't make it." Mary's heart nearly stopped. "What do you mean?" "Laura was just promoted to vice president at a big company. The celebration is on the same day as your wedding." His voice faded, but Mary didn't need to hear more. It was the same story all over again. Laura always came first. Even on the most important day of her life, they chose her sister. "I understand," Mary said coldly. "Enjoy yourselves." She ended the call and fell to the floor, her body shaking. Jerry rushed over and held her tightly. "It's okay, Mary. I'm here with you." His voice gave her strength, but that night, Mary couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, staring at the city lights. Her mind was filled with old memories. The days she wasn't taken to Disneyland. The times her parents ignored her school achievements. The punishments she got for Laura's lies. The moment they threw her out after CPS got involved. She took a deep breath. Enough. She didn't need her parents' approval. She didn't need Laura's validation. She had built her own life. She had Jerry. She had real friends. She had her grandparents, who had always loved her without conditions. The next morning, Mary woke up feeling different. Stronger. "Jerry," she said with determination, "we'll have our wedding as planned. Even if my parents and Laura don't come, we have our real family." Jerry smiled gently.
Yes.
"We have each other. And you have your grandparents and friends who love you." On the wedding day, Mary walked down the aisle, holding on to her grandfather Larry's arm. She wore a simple white dress with tiny flowers woven into her hair. The venue was filled with people who truly cared about them. Her parents and Laura were absent, but Mary didn't feel empty. Jerry stood at the altar, his loving gaze meeting hers. She had everything she needed. "We are creating a new family," Mary whispered to herself. "A family filled with love and understanding." As she and Jerry exchanged vows, she looked into his eyes and saw nothing but unconditional love. "I vow to love, respect, and cherish Mary Simon, in sickness and in health, for better or worse," Jerry said, his voice full of emotion. Mary repeated the words, and in that moment, she felt completely free. At the reception, Mary danced with a bright smile, surrounded by her closest friends. Her grandparents watched her with pride. Jerry's parents welcomed Mary warmly, treating her as if she were their own daughter. Yet, deep down, the absence of her parents and Laura left a small ache in her heart. During a break from dancing, Mary stood by the window, looking out at the city. Suddenly, a familiar voice called her name. "Mary." She turned around, startled. It was Laura. Her voice was unsteady. "I want to apologize." Mary was shocked. Laura stood there in an elegant dress, but she looked exhausted. "Laura, why are you here?" Mary asked, confused. Laura lowered her gaze. "I left my promotion party early," she said softly. "I felt I needed to be here." A wave of emotions rushed through Mary. Anger, sadness, and a small flicker of hope. "I truly regret everything," Laura continued. "I've always been jealous of you, your strength, your intelligence, and the love you received." Mary stayed silent, listening. "I know it won't be easy to fix our relationship," Laura admitted. "But if you can forgive me, I'd like to start over." Mary took a deep breath. Her emotions clashed inside her. "Laura, I can't forgive you that easily," Mary said softly. "But I'm glad you came. Maybe we can take small steps forward." Tears filled Laura's eyes. Slowly, she reached out her hand. After a moment's hesitation, Mary took it. They stood side by side in silence, gazing at the city lights, a quiet symbol of a new beginning. 3 months after the wedding, Mary received a letter from her parents. "Mary, we made a big mistake. We deeply regret not attending your wedding. We don't know if you can forgive us, but if possible, we'd like to meet and talk." Reading the words, Mary felt a mix of emotions. Should she forgive them? Or should she keep her distance? She didn't reply right away. Instead, she turned to Jerry. "What do you think?" she asked. Jerry smiled gently. "Maybe it's okay to wait until you feel ready. There's no rush." Mary nodded.
Yes.
For the first time in her life, she didn't feel pressured to make a decision. She could take her time. She could face her feelings honestly. A new life, a new family, and the possibility of making peace with the past. So many choices lay ahead. Taking a deep breath, Mary decided to step forward, ready for whatever the future held. She also made another important decision. She would start therapy to heal from old wounds and build healthier relationships. "I have a loving husband, wonderful friends, and grandparents who have always loved me unconditionally," Mary reminded herself. And for the first time, she truly believed it. "I am not alone. I can get through this." A new chapter in Mary's life was beginning. There would still be challenges ahead, but she had the strength to face them. More importantly, she had a true family. She had learned that family wasn't just about blood, it was about love, support, and understanding. Those were the bonds that truly mattered. Mary gazed out the window at the bright Atlanta skyline. A new day, New challenges and new experiences were waiting for her. But for now, a quiet sense of happiness filled her heart. Jerry wrapped his arms around her from behind. "What are you thinking about?" he asked softly. Mary smiled. "Our future and making peace with the past. We'll face it together," Jerry said gently. Held in her husband's embrace, Mary felt safe. She had built her life through her own choices, and now she was ready to move forward with her new family. This wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. A new chapter in Mary's life was about to unfold.